I remember the day I arrived in Bangkok in February 1992. It was the 16th of February 1992. I'd flown in from Hong Kong. I got organised with accommodation, and I was having a stroll about in central Bangkok. And on the curbside was this gentleman just sitting. Actually, he's back against the wall, but he was just sitting. And I strolled past him. But as you do with people that are sitting with their back against the wall and on the pavement, I kind of veered slightly, roadward to the road. But as I passed him, he greeted me warmly. So I turned round and he muttered a few things which kind of interested me. And he said, "Sit, my friend. Sit and talk for a moment. I need to tell you something." So, always aware of, scammers and things like that. I suppose my radar was flashing in my brain. But anyway, I took a seat on the pavement opposite him. And he talked away. The first thing he said to me, which I always remember, I don't think it was meant to be an insult, but he said to me, "You have snake eyes. You're here for a reason." That's what he said to me. "You're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason." Well, I think we're all here for a reason and a purpose, but what he said to me was, as I say, quite intriguing. Anyway, the conversation kind of melted into this situation where he said that he could tell me in this order how many sisters I have, my mother's first name, my age, and my girlfriend's name. So I thought to myself, anyone that can do that is worth spending a few more minutes with. So what he did was he handed me a piece of paper and a pencil. Somewhere in my house, I'm sure I've still got this little piece of paper. But he wrote down, and he asked me to write down at the same time. So I don't know if he was reading my mind, but each of the questions that came up, he says, "Write down how many sisters you have." So I wrote it down. He didn't see it, of course, and I couldn't see what he was writing either on his bit of paper. "Write down your mother's name." And he wrote it down as well. He wrote down my age and also my girlfriend at the time. So, and we've been going out with each other for several months, quite a long time actually. And anyway, he told me to fold the paper, and we folded it in four, once and then twice. So, and then he said, "Kiss for God," and we swapped pieces of paper. And he told me to open the bit paper. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. I won't give you the names, but the first, how many sisters, he was correct with that. He was correct with my age. Sorry, he was correct with my mother's name. He was correct with my age, and he was correct with my girlfriend's name, except he'd spelt the last letter. He added an additional letter because the way it's pronounced, I can understand why I would think it had an H at the end. I found this quite extraordinary. And then he told me, in the same sentence almost, he said, "Today, this girl, your girl, is no more for you." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" "Today she is no more for you." and it was her birthday. And I actually sent a box at some considerable expense when I think about it. I actually sent her roses from Hong Kong. I remember going to the post office and putting them in this bloody box and sending them all the way to the UK. And so this was kind of quite shocking news, because at first I thought there was something that happened to her, but he said, no, it's just that she's not for you anymore. Anyway, I still had another, well, almost a month of travelling to do still. So this weighed heavily on my mind. And when I got back to Hong Kong, I remember phoning home and saying, is there anything I should know about? And my dad saying, no, everything's fine. But I think he was trying to protect me. And so when I returned to the UK, and it was also a very strange event, this. I flew into Heathrow and I eventually got a train, but I'd had this premonition that the train wouldn't go to the city of Perth, it would go to Dundee instead, and that's exactly what happened. So I arrived in Dundee, and I also was aware that it was the month of March, but there was a heavy snowfall, which I'd also had this premonition about, and that's exactly what happened. As we crossed into the Scottish border, there was bits of snow floating about, and the time we got to Perthshire, the snow was considerably deep. And I was still dressed in my shirt from Hong Kong when I boarded the flight. And so when I came straight back to her place of residence, she then told me that that I couldn't come in. I said, well, I need to come in, and so she eventually allowed me in. There was another guy there. So after a bit of conversation about things, and I said, I've got a couple of presents for you actually I bought. They won't fit me, and there's no point in anyone else getting them, so just take them. And so she did. Well, it was pointless me keeping them anyway. But I said to her, I just want you to answer one thing. When did this happen? And she said, on the 16th of February. That's a true story. She'd ended up with somebody else on her birthday. She got the red roses right enough, but obviously meaningless. So I've never sent red roses to any female ever again. I still give females flowers if I feel that they're enough value to give them flowers. A lot of females don't like flowers or chocolates, things like that, but I always think that, I think it's females, I like seeing females' eyes and their smile when you give them a bunch of flowers, especially if you've disguised the flowers as a jacket when you hand it to them. The bunch of flowers is under your jacket. But so that was a rather sorry tale and fairly upsetting. But as I say, when I went back to home, I said what had happened, and my parents told me that she'd come down and said, I need to phone Andy. Can you give me the place that he's staying in? I need to phone him and tell him what's happening. And they said, no, don't do that to him. Wait until he comes back and you can tell him, but don't phone him. So they were being very protective to me, and it was a very upsetting kind of scenario, but hell, that's life, isn't it? It's just the way it was. And that's why I've got another story which I'll maybe add to this, I don't know, which connects quite firmly to what I've just been talking about. And It was quite simply a message from a ghostly figure. She was present when this ghostly figure was with us. It was quite extraordinary. I don't want to give you any more information on it just now. I might come back to this one, so keep an eye out. But it was just far too amazing for words. But anyway, the situation was, it was a message from this person that I shouldn't travel overseas, that was going to change my destiny. It was going to put me on a different track. But that track that I was shunted onto brought me. It kind of brought me closer to my. It allowed me to meet somebody that I wanted to meet, that was destined to meet anyway. And so I'm never surprised by life at all. I find life quite exciting. As much as there's a lot of, down moments, there's also a lot of fascinating moments. And you don't have to be in a crowd to get these fascinating moments, Sometimes just being on your own, or, being in the mountains, or isolated like a hermit for periods, that can bring in a lot of messages and meanings. And by me calculating this amazing numerology today has once again reaffirmed and underlined something which is really, really special to me. And I actually find that if this is not enough proof, then what is? I don't know. It's like something simple, something as simple as this, but it's not simple. And I refer back to the time when I've been talking about sequence of numbers and stuff. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that I've been talking about for nearly 30 years, but this is today's calculations. It's really pretty amazing. So I'm never ever bored. I'm always silent for the next event. And as I say, like everybody, we have our down times and our times of loneliness and our times of our deep thought, but on the whole, it's like it's all purpose. It's all meant. And I don't know what the calculations are just now, but I actually feel that the numbers, or the sequence of numbers that are occurring in my particular life are all calculating to something pretty good. There's something on the horizon that's coming. I can't pinpoint it, but it's I think it's quite major, actually.